Thank you for staying with us. Ahead of the September the 21st governorship election in Edo State, the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party have continued their allegation and counter-allegation about campaign violence in the state. According to the APC Campaign Council's media director, Kasima Fegboa, the rate at which propaganda has swallowed the PDP in Edo State in this campaign season is quite alarming, and accused the party of twisting narratives to confuse the voters. While the People's Democratic Party has refuted the claim, the Edo State government raised the alarm over the arrest of the leaders of the People's Democratic Party, urging the security agencies to halt the arrest. Well, joining us for this conversation is the Executive Director, Center for Social and Economic Rights, Nelson Ekujumi. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you join us. Even on the papers this morning, you see this story about issues that will shape the narrative or the election in Edo State in the coming days. And this matter of campaign, where we are seeing the back and forth, allegation, counter-allegation, arrest, you attacked me, I didn't attack you, words that is being said and all of it. How concerned are you about this matter of campaign violence? It seems year in, year out, whenever we have election, we always have this matter. It seems it has come to stay and as part of our election, and it's not really having that right posturing for us.
I'm sad. And if you say it has come to stay, I don't think that is a good development for our democracy. Because ordinarily, democracy or elections is a festival of voters. But unfortunately, we have seen where we are. When elections is coming, you hear, in fact, people living outside the states, at a point in time, you think on election day, the people in that state or that community will disappear because of the tension, because of the information coming out, somebody killed, blah, blah, blah. So, for me, I think the issue there is, as a people, we need to admonish our political stakeholders that, look, if it is about service to the people, then it's not worth this violence, these allegations and counter-allegations. Like you have said, it's like it's a culture for us. When elections are approaching, you hear all sorts of allegations, you hear campaign trail attacked. Why are you attacking them? They have gone to sell their products. So you are free to go there and sell your product. But unfortunately, this is where we are today. But we, as a people, we can only continuously admonish them and also be on our guard and admonish ourselves as well. Because we are talking about people living in the same society even when election has ended. Because we don't have any other place than our home. So if we kill ourselves now or we injure ourselves, the bad blood will linger even after the conclusion of elections. So we still need a lot of sensitization and advocacy to chat. Even
for the big wigs, those who are playing in the space, who should know better?
Yes, you would think they should know better. But if they are not behaving in a way that portrays they know better, what do we do? Do we leave them to their fate to endanger all of us? Absolutely not. So we continuously engage them and even engage our youths. Because a lot of times it's our youths that have become, the tools for perpetrating this violence or these allegations and counter-allegations. So it is for us to continuously admonish them, then sensitize the youth, the electorate, such that the electorate will be able to make an informed choice. So that the electorate will not be confused or incited by these allegations and counter-allegations. It has become part of the election process, but it's not a good one, and we don't want to continue in that trajectory.
So you mentioned about sensitization. Now, we know the agency that is supposed to sensitize Nigerians on the dangers of electoral or political violence when it comes to elections, but are they doing the job?
Well, like if we all agree that we all belong to this land, then whatever role that we need to play, we must recognize that it's a collective responsibility. For example, I belong to civil society organizations. At a point in time, even the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, enlisted us As I sit here, we hold quarterly meetings with the Lagos State Office of INEC. And what are we doing? We are doing sensitization and collaboration, because the agency that is supposed to reach out to people cannot reach out to everybody. Some persons are in the farm.
There are gaps.
There are gaps. So we all have, in fact, we go to churches. We go to mosques to sensitize them. So that is to tell you the intention that, look, they realize that some persons don't live even in their home. Some persons are permanently domiciled in the religious institution for one reason or the other. So the gaps must be filled by all and sundry, whether the market association, the traders association, the artisans. We need to reach out to them using their own mechanism for information dissemination. We shouldn't wait for the agency in charge, because that agency, don't forget, they don't have all the resources, they don't have all the personnel, and they cannot reach every nook and cranny. So we all need to assist if we are all interested in a better society.
But how has all of this affected the quality of our electoral process?
Well, you know, our electoral process is bedeviled by a lot of primordial sentiments. But even in the midst of that, one expects majorly the political parties to highlight what they want to do, rather than these allegations and counter-allegations of violence. In that way, the people will be able to make informed choices. Then the media as well also has a duty to play, because right now, we are all behaving as if the elections in Edo State will only be between two political parties.
3.
Or 3. Meanwhile, we have about 18 or more registered political parties. So why are we not spotlighting those that are preaching what we need to hear and jettisoning this news of violence? Because the election is about going there on election day to cast your ballot.
But we can't jettison this news of violence, because it is there staring our faces. It's in the news.
Yes, I agree.
So
I agree.
how do you think we can jettison it and still move on?
I believe if the electorate, if the politicians or the political gladiators recognize that all these acts that does not beautify our democracy or our electoral system are things that does not resonate with us, they will be thinking twice. Because if I have an image of you as somebody who is an agent of violence, definitely you know I will run away from you. Because an agent of violence can unleash that violence on anybody when it suits him or her, if I'm not on the same page with you. So I will run away from you. So we need to educate the electorate that, look, the election is about going to the polls to vote, is about watching before days of election to make up your mind who you want to vote for, and not what we usually see where people go to the polling stations on election day and they don't even know who to vote for. And some of them will go to the polling stations on election day and waiting for party agents to induce them. So we need to educate and sensitize the electorate, because the electorate are king. All these allegations and counter-allegations is not between the political gladiators. It's to confuse the electorate. So if the electorate, if they are aware that these shenanigans, if you permit me to use that word, that they are perpetrating does not resonate with the electorate, they will have to do things that they know will appeal to the mindset of the electorate, which is about propagating your manifesto. What have you done? What do you want to do? So that the people will, will gravitate towards you. Yeah. The electorate are the beautiful bride. And, if you want to gravitate towards a beautiful lady, you know what you do. You put on a good shirt. You put on perfume. Yeah, you dress well.
This, as it is, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good.
Absolutely, I agree. Absolutely.
It's not looking good. But then let's talk about the factors that perhaps will shape the election as it is now. This matter of campaigns have gone on. There are those that are also talking about the situation. If you look at the paper, Nigerian Tribune, for instance, it talked about Obaseki Oshiomhole war, deputy governors, vote banks for PDP, APC, and all of those issues. But from your perspective, and as someone who has monitored elections over time across the country, what are the issues that you think would shape this election in Edo State?
You know, like we say, every election, politics is local. And if you look at the elections coming up in Edo on September 21st, you realize that there are some local sentiments which the political parties are trying to capitalize on. For example, I was watching the news yesterday, and I saw some persons going on the streets accusing the governor of desecrating the institution of the Oba of Benin. Those are local sentiments, and you know, those sentiments are very, very strong if you don't address them. They could go a long way to shaping, you know, how people will vote on election day, because people don't want to be disrespected if they you know how they cherish their traditional institution. Yeah. So you look at this, and also you look at the fact that there's this issue about where the next governor is supposed to come from. Those, between you and I, you can be rest assured that even if you are promising them that I will do this and that, they could put that, you know, at the back of their sentiments. So, because election is about the choice of the voter. The voter can say on election day, why I'm voting for this man is that I even like his haircut. It's nobody's business. But some other persons will be looking at the character of the candidate. Some other persons will be looking at what is he offering us. Yes. So, what will shape the elections come 24th of September, you know, are not things we can just, you know, mention at the tip of our fingers. And even as we sit here, don't forget, there's this saying that even 24 hours
can change.
Is a very long time in politics.
Yes, true.
Anything can still change.
Interesting.
Okay, so in all of this now, Edo election is on the spotlight. Of course, Ondo election too is November. Yeah. Like you had mentioned earlier, the people are the beautiful bride. Yeah. Do you think we actually have that mindset? Do we know our power as a people?
Realistically speaking, I'll tell you that a lot of us don't know. A lot of us, because I've been in fact, all the elections in Edo State.
Is that really the issue? I think I beg to differ on that, but then you can...
Yes, I believe a lot of us don't know, because you hear people say, even if I vote, you hear people what they have already decided, even in this age, with all the technology that has been inbuilt into the system to make electoral manipulations very, very difficult. You have seen situations where people, I've been an observer since the birth of this democratic journey, where people will come to the polling unit, adults like myself, and be waiting for somebody to say, come and take this.
Yeah, because they feel that we have monetized our election.
So if we understand why we vote, will you be doing that? Because it's about 4 years of your lifetime.
Isn't it what we have built as a structure around our electoral process? Around our electoral process over the years? Haven't we often heard people say you have to have the war chest for you to be able to campaign or do whatever it is?
Yes.
Despite INEC saying you must follow the budget put in place for whatever level of position you are looking forward to. And then the matters of, our vote does not count. Have we been able to prove to the people that your voice is being heard and that your vote counts over the years?
The greatest hindrance to people understanding that their votes counts and has always counted is because of the fact that people don't understand that the electoral process is governed by laws. For example, you saw the situation in, was it Adamawa or Taraba?
Adamawa.
Where somebody who is not authorized by law made the pronouncement. What happened?
That was Adamawa, I think.
What happened? It became null and void. You have seen a situation whereby in River State, when the pressure was too much on the chief returning officer, even when the resident electoral commissioner was sitting beside him, and he said he was not going to make the pronouncement because it's the one permitted by law, and he resigned that position. You saw what INEC did. INEC had to appoint another person. They didn't say anybody should do it. So why you had a situation where we had an election and there's an IREV which is a viewing center, and people are saying a viewing center was doctored. Just a minute, Vero, just a minute. It's just like you going to the stadium to watch a football match. A goal has been scored. Because the billboard didn't bring up that image of, you know these electronic billboards. Yeah. When a goal is scored, you see this caption of goal. Because a billboard has not come up with that image, you now say the goal you saw being scored, of which the referee pointed at the center, you said that goal was not scored because you didn't see the billboard. So
let's not forget the role of the courts. That's the major issue for most people, where after at the end of the day, they said they have voted, the courts will now either make it null or void. That's the challenge for most.
No, it's not a challenge. I just told you that if you understand that elections is governed by laws, if you have voted, and your voting or the process does not comply with the provisions of the law, that is the responsibility of the court is to interpret. The court does not manufacture any law. You go to courts, and the law is very clear what roles the court can play.
Presenting the process that has...
Yes, if you are violating, for example, if a candidate, the law says a candidate must be validly nominated. If you have breached that foundation, the court will do its job. Because we always say in law, you can't build something on nothing. Yeah. So I think the major issue at stake here is for us to educate our people on what the provisions of the law are. For example, you have an election conducted in a polling station where we have the voters, observers, the media, INEC officer, party agents, as well as the security. When an election is conducted under the law, there's a form EC8A, signed by the electoral officer, countersigned by the party agents present, of which the security officer will get a copy. Is mandated by law to get a copy. It moves from that level to the ward. At the ward level, the voters are absent because they are not voting. They are calculating what you have voted in the various polling. You know, several number of polling units make up a ward. The voter is not present there. Every other stakeholder is present. From the ward, it goes to the local government level. From the local government level, it goes to the states before it goes to and at this every level, when there's discrepancy, it has to be sorted out. Let me give you my physical experience. I was at a polling station where I was at a collation center where at the final tabulation of results, don't forget, I think we need to educate our people. INEC appoints statisticians and mathematicians to verify results. That is why...
The calculation.
That is why after every election, you see some person sitting behind or beside. Those are the statisticians. You know that after the result, when the result was given to the statistician to do the mathematics, the statisticians told us that the result was not correct.
Okay.
We spent from about 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., we got where the fault came from the following morning at 8 a.m. You know how we got it? They had to go back to the ward. They had to go back to the local government that there's a figure missing. Only for us to get to a polling station result where a candidate scored 1 and the electoral officer recorded 0, that 1 does not matter. And it was because of just that one vote.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
That we spent the whole night. So that is to tell you the thoroughness of the process. So when people come up and say, oh, one figure was...
Because they don't follow through.
Yes, the process is very clear. The law has stipulated how it should go. So if you breach that process at any point in time, the result will be waiting for you up there. So the greatest problem we have now is how do we sensitize and educate our people that, look, apart from the Constitution, there's what is called the Electoral Act. And apart from the Electoral Act, there's also the INEC rules and regulations. So when people know all these laws, people will be better informed. People will now, people's confidence will be greatly enhanced.
Who do you expect to sensitize them?
All of us. I told you earlier on. All of us.
Right.
All of us.
It's our responsibility.
Everybody.
Political parties,
media, religious institutions, INEC, NOA, everybody.
And this
because
information,
it's a battle tomorrow.
yeah, and this information is even out there.
Yes.
You can easily
People should, yes, you can Google, you can use it even on your phones.
True.
All right. So much has been said, Nelson Ekujime. We must thank you. He is the Executive Director, Center for Social and Economic Rights. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Finally on the show, we went to the streets to ask Nigerians this question. Who should be blamed if a child